Good morning to all of you. Happy day to all of you. For those of you who are listening and watching even later in the evening, happy evening to you. I was reminded as I was coming on of a broadcaster that used to say, "How in the world are you?" And so I'm going to ask the question, how in the workplace are you? Are you doing? How are you doing in the workplace, in the marketplace? How are you doing? I'm hoping all is well. I'm hoping that you are conquering every obstacle. I hope that you're conquering every goal and vision that you have. My name is Yvette Owens. For those of you who don't know me, I'm coming to you from Company Culture with Yvette Owens, my podcast. You can find it on YouTube under Yvette Owens. I also invite you to join our YouTube channel, Destiny Speak, where we share my business partner and I share with some other colleagues some leadership conversations around how to become stronger leaders and create a better culture for the organization. Again, I am Yvette Owens. I'm here once a week to share with you some nuggets and some ideas and how we can continue to make the role of a leader a more brilliant role, make our leader more brilliant role, because we want to create healthy places, healthy cultures for people to thrive, because when people thrive, our organizations thrive. We fulfill our vision, market value and market share grows, and even those of you who are in ministry, your message gets to a broader audience when we serve from a better position of leadership. So, this is Yvette Owens. You can find me on YouTube, on Facebook. You can find me at Yvette Owens, The Diplomat Chronicles, or Company Culture with Yvette Owens, or Destiny Speak. All of those, you will find great information for you. I'm also on LinkedIn as Yvette Owens. Happy to connect with you there, share your ideas, and let's collaborate even on that platform. Again, talking about what are the behaviors that really enhance organizations, and what are those behaviors that seem to be hindering organizations is what company culture is all about. I am the author also of Company Culture, Conquering Corporate Enemies with Yvette Owens, the mind, personality, and situations, where I share some of my experiences over. Now I'm celebrating, woohoo, right now, my in this month, the month of May, my 40th anniversary in the marketplace. So I'm sharing some of my experiences, really raw, as well as those of some of my clients and peers that I've had experience with. So today's topic is poop on protocol. And so for those of you who saw that and were like, oh, protocol is a good thing, we needed to bring order and we need to keep everything aligned, you're absolutely right. But there are times when protocol actually restricts people, it restricts the thought, it restricts the mind, and it imprisons people. So we need to, I'm encouraging you today to stop using protocol to limit people access to you. Stop using protocol to prevent people from expanding their thought process. Let's use protocol more for the benefit of our organizations and those who have come alongside us to meet a purpose or fulfill a mission. So here's a good example of protocol, because some might say, well, what is protocol? How do I even know what protocol is? Protocol is a set of procedures or rules that help to govern how we're going to operate, right? And it identifies the who, the what, and the when, right? So when you're in a specific situation, this is who should do what, this is how they should do it, and this is when they should do it. Typical example is, a very basic example is when you are requesting budget money, or when you're requesting funds from an organization, they require a protocol, often is that you submit estimates so that your request can be made, be fulfilled or be considered. Let me say that, because we always don't have what's being requested at the time that it's being requested. So, again, a real example is, hey, we need some funds. Our organization needs some funds. My team needs some funds. I need some funds to be able to meet my students' needs. But we have to, a protocol is submit some estimates so that the budget can be considered. That's one example. There are some examples even in the medical field that the protocol is that we will always ask the patients these questions. We will always take the patient through these types of testing before we even start to talk to them. Great idea, because you're getting assess the situation. However, when we don't want protocol to get in the way of our interaction with people, our communicating with people, and to really provide specific need for the individual that's in front of us. Okay, so that protocol, and often you hear this in the medical field. Yes, it's true that we keep the safety of our patients in mind when we follow protocol, but it also starts to predict that there's only one way to get to the answer. And so, again, that's a way of restricting people and imprisoning the thought process. We don't want to do that with protocol. And we're seeing an example in the news even now, with American Airlines just recently putting out a protocol that their stewardess and pilots should get to, excuse me, should get to the airport as quickly as possible. So leave earlier, miss meals. Protocol means your first priority is to get to the airport. In a way that doesn't seem bad when you necessarily, if you're on the leadership side, you're like, okay, well, I do need people to plan better to get there, but that's not how it's being received. And so that protocol might need to have a second look. All right. Because now it's appearing as on the plane than you do about the stress that I'm under, my health and getting a proper meal so I can function and my brain can function better and things like that. Because there are things that are not in their control trying to get to the airport, like traffic and so forth. Yes, plan for it, but make sure the protocol, the who should do what, when, and where, and how doesn't get in the way that you're mandating from your organization. Another one is another example of where a protocol should, leadership should take a second look at a protocol, is if you are one where you bring on major clients, you're a business to business organization and you bring on major clients. As you're bringing them on, if you bringing them on in a new month, and then your protocol is that whenever we're bringing on a new client, for that entire month, no one is allowed to take any time off. Okay, that protocol is that we'll have all hands on deck for the month that we start engaging with a new major client. Well, that protocol could be very restrictive to people who've already planned and had vacation time approved. It's restrictive and imprisons people who have maybe medical issues that come up. When you say this is exactly the protocol that we do. When we have new clients coming on, we don't allow anybody to take vacation or to have any time away. And then you have to consider, well, will we really see the influx of the business at the time that in that very month that we've now locked down everybody in the workplace? So balance those realities, or balance those possibilities, and to have more of a way to be able to meet the various scenarios that could crop up during that time frame or that month. Same thing I know happens, or it did happen quite a bit in the back in a few years ago, where at the end of the year, for those who were really pushing to close books and things like that, people were restricted from taking time. No one could take time off. Protocol was everyone was in the office during that time. Well, how many know that, again, that's around the holiday time? And so we can, a better protocol or a better process can come up to be able to allow more flexibility and still meet the demands of the time period there. The one I really want to encourage you is where we have a protocol where if you want to share an idea or you have an idea, one, only certain people can bring that idea forward, or when someone has an idea, it has to be at a specific time. How many know that that is a quick way to shut down sharing of ideas? It's a quick way of having people think, well, it's not worth my effort. So we need to have protocol in place that allows people to reach the real decision makers. They're accessible to those who are in their sphere of influence. They're accessible to those who might want to share information. And so we remove those protocols that keep people away from us and allow them to be partnering with us in the partnering with us in the building of our organizations and the building of our vision. So I wanted to share those thoughts with you today, how you can be utilize protocol for more positive ways, making sure you're not imprisoning people, making sure they have the flexibility and agility that allows people to really, really partner with you, collaborate, and you still meet your needs. You don't want to be restrictive, and you have to consider all aspects of your protocol and the impact it has on those people. Again, for example, teachers being called back into the classroom. Under no circumstances can they stay home. Under no circumstances can they have time in and time off. That is going to be restrictive for people who have families or taking care of elderly or have children that are on hybrid schedules, right? How can we be more creative? If nothing else, in 2020 taught us is that life is different than it has been in the past. So we need to do things differently. We need to be open to scratching the surface and going deeper into what things we've put in place, how we've said we want to work and deal with one another, if you will, or interact with one another in the workplace. How do we want to do that? And we need to now take the time to dust those things off, make sure we're being considerate of what everyone is dealing with, not negating and the importance of running a business. Yes, you are running a business. Yes, you're running a ministry. Yes, you're keeping your community afloat, but we need to make sure that the protocol doesn't get in the way of people wanting to engage with us and people wanting to be able to support us in our missions. So I hope you have an awesome day today. Hey, join me tomorrow night on YouTube at Destiny Speak, where my colleagues and I are going to talk about really the visibility and coming back, returning back to the workplace and what that means, and the fact that where I sat before is not where I'm sitting, is no longer there. Because even coming back into the workplace, you're dealing with still the impact, the influence of social issues, social economical issues, the increased employee engagement, the impact of people of color are going to now influence our workplace even more and for the greater. And the importance now on leadership connectivity. That's a greater importance. Good morning, Pam. Good morning to you. So glad you could join me this morning. Um, when we're talking about coming back into the workplace, or coming up with a way that we're going to work together going forward, we need to consider all those things. So it's more than just, am I going to come back into the building? It's when I come back together and we say we're now in our new normal, right? Or our new, I don't like to say new normal, but when we're in our newness, we're not thinking about so much on the seats that we had, but that we're sitting in different seats emotionally and even intellectually and collaboratively, because we have all these things that are happening in our worlds and in our communities that are now going to show up in the workplace. And so, are we ready for it? So, my partners and collaborators, colleagues are going to have that conversation tomorrow night at 7 p.m. right here where you're joining today, except for on YouTube. It will be on Destiny Speak, and it will be on Destiny Speak Facebook page as well as my personal page. Join us tomorrow evening. So we enjoy coming to you every week. If you have some things that you'd like me to address, please share them, and I will do that. Have an awesome day, and we will see you real soon.